Just get
Poor
over it.
buggers.
Get over it. So of course, we still need pride, and any bloody straight person that says we don't will have a meeting with us. I love how you're drinking wine followed by a sip of water.
The classics. Mix it up.
Mixing it, so mix a
Yeah.
lot. I'm trying to do. I can't do it.
What, like a body roll? Or...
No, like a. But it was
like Beyonce with the feathers, with the
oh,
shoulders. You're gonna do
girls.
yourself a
Swivelly chair, swivelly chair, swivelly chair, swivelly chair, swivel chair, swivel chair.
Nasty girl. Scandalous. Insatiable. All real freaky. Freaky girls really turn me on.
Hello.
Welcome back, guys.
How are we?
Good. How's
Yeah.
your week been?
My week has been very good because, as you can see, I've been to the hairdresser, the barber.
You are looking rather slick.
I know, I've been shorn. He even did my beard for me, which they're not supposed to do because you're supposed to wear a mask at all times. But he was like, just...
Wow.
So, yeah.
No, it looks so good. It makes such a difference.
Oh, tell me about it. I know, right?
I love it.
And things are beginning to on Friday. We'll be able to go and eat outside. Like restaurants are allowed to open up outside. You can tell there's like a buzz in the air.
Oh my God, you're back.
Life is slowly coming, getting back to normal. So that's really good. What about you?
Oh my God. So this week, I spoke to my first real life flat earther.
What?
It was unbelievable.
Gross.
Unbelievable. So obviously,
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Up gems. Like literally, this guy, Andy, he was really quite something special. Started off with the anti-vaxxing, saying how there's fetal remains in it, and I was like, that's not actually true. Then look, I just googled it and he was like, okay, well, yeah. And then he was just sort of like, and then we've all got straw men, so the reason why we sign in a box is because we're signing in a coffin. And he was saying
what?
Like it was nuts. The whole conversation was wild. So he was just like, right, okay, so when you have an envelope and the clear bit, and then there you see your name and your details in there, and I was like, so you can see where you're sending this stuff to. He was like, no, that symbolizes your coffin. Everyone's got a straw man, so an ulterior person,
like an avatar.
Yeah, because they use our organs. Apparently, the Queen consulted. This was amazing. The Queen consulted Jimmy Savile with regards to whether Diana was suitable with Charles, and he gave the go ahead for it. And
I couldn't imagine that being true.
and then they drank baby's blood together.
The Queen and Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, because they were really good friends, apparently.
Oh,
and they're all
my God.
So you realise why I didn't put the phone down, because I was like, do you know what? This is.
Oh, I wish you had. Someone somewhere was recording that.
Then. And then, well, yeah, the company.
The company, like you need to get the recording.
And then there was, he said how Philip was the devil, and I was like, not disagreeing with you there. He was like, it was always in 3, 6, 9, so he died on the 9th of September, something or other. I don't know, something like that. And it was just like,
wow,
okay. Yeah, it was a lot. It was.
But wait, was he an actual flat earther as well?
Yeah, and then he said, yeah, so with the maps, why are they always done on paper? And I was like, for transport reasons. And it was like, no, because John, you would
can't. But I want to. The thing is, I want to know with flat earthers, where do they think whereabouts you're supposed to fall off the edge of the world?
Because he was like, you've got Antarctica and the other one. And I was like, the Arctic.
The Arctic.
Like, yeah, that's the one. And he was like, not allowed to go to places like that because that's where the edge is.
But there are people that like literally live there all year. Like, okay. God.
I was literally like, this is amazing because I've
The
never
thing is,
spoken
as well,
to
it's
one
like,
before.
you can't, you were, this was like a work thing. You can't just be like,
Yeah.
all right, bye, Andy,
No,
and put the phone
but
down on him.
I stayed on the phone with him for like an hour and a half, just chatting shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, do you know what? This has been brilliant. Thank you, Andy. And he was like, I can send you loads of stuff from Facebook. And I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah,
And
hard
he was like,
pass.
well, you've got my number. Give me a call. And he's like, you know, my favorite place in London, Speaker's Corner. I'll be there on the, hold on.
Wait, was he from
it's
London?
today. No, he's not, but he's traveling down because there was apparently at Speaker's Corner today. He was like, you should come down, like just ask around. Everyone knows me. And
I
then
bet they
like,
do.
yeah, I'll fill you in on
I
everything.
fucking bet they
Hold
do.
on.
Good Lord.
Oh my God, this is amazing. I should have sent ABBA. I should have sent
I
that.
know, don't like he's yeah. Well, speaking of crazy people, we have our first trolls. Yeah,
We made it.
We're officially like internet celebrities.
I could not believe it. I was
So-
like, what is going on?
Basically, I made an ad out of a post about Valentina from season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race, the iconic, I'd like to keep it on, please, saying about how after this pandemic is done, I still want to wear a mask in public, enclosed public spaces on public transport because the rates for cold and flu this year have been, but anyway, it's just common sense. Everyone does it in Asia. There's a reason, right? And the response, and so this was an ad. So basically, I didn't even think that, but so anyone can see it. I didn't think. And some of the responses, it was like, I'm not wearing a mask outside because I don't want anyone to think I'm a liberal.
I know.
And like,
it was just like, do you realize how dumb that sounds?
The anger, like you would rather die than have people think. And then one of them was saying about how he sent this screenshot of like an article or something, the title of an article, and it said like 50% of white liberal women under 30 have mental health issues. And I was like, well, I'm neither white, a woman, nor a liberal, so I'm okay. Just unreal the amount. And the thing is, they were all from America. They all came from America.
But it was just sort of like, wow, I just was like, where
the anger in it though, really.
We know, and I was like, are they friends of yours?
God no.
Like, but so triggered.
So triggered.
I was just like,
unreal.
Wow, it's been really fun reading it though.
Yeah, and I mean,
suggest you all get involved.
Yeah, well, I've deleted.
The
thing is, at first I was kind of being sassy and replying, but then I didn't tell you this morning. I nearly got us banned.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, I think this is. They were like, "Do you agree with the decision, Facebook?" I was like, "No, clearly not," because I called someone an ugly incel, and I said that I said he had brock teeth, and and so we got away with it. But the thing is, after that, people were still replying with bullshit. So I just started deleting them and banning them, blocking them straight off the bat. I'm not. Okay. It's better not to engage with the madness because I could feel myself getting really angry. Like, are you fucking like? Yeah.
No, that's what was. I did think about that because it's not your first time being in Facebook jail.
In Facebook jail, I know, right? I'm a repeat offender.
Facebook one.
I'm a repeat offender, but it's I do feel kind of like okay, yeah, we've made an impact.
You got a troll,
right?
We've got several.
We had several trolls.
I know.
I feel very proud of myself. It was the first Eurovision semi-final yesterday.
Oh my God, did you lose your shit?
I was here by myself, dancing around the living room, talking to myself like a lunatic, like, oh, I don't like that. What's this? What's she wearing? What's he wearing? I have to say, in all honesty, this year is not, to my mind, is not a vintage year for Eurovision musically. Wow. There are a few outstanding songs, like Iceland is great. Oh my God, but drama, Iceland cannot compete in the final because they've all just tested positive for COVID.
Ew.
So they can't perform, and so they're having to use their rehearsal performance to be the main thing. But the song is great.
Malta was actually there at a venue.
Yeah, no, they had basically they're using it as a test event as well to kind of see. They said everyone's
vaccinated.
Well, no, everybody is either vaccinated or has had a test like just before. Okay. They said that there were 3,500 people in the audience.
Really?
Socially distanced. I mean, it's a huge arena, so that's like maybe 20% of the space, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, they're using it as I don't know if there will be more people for the actual final on Saturday. Tomorrow is the second semi-final.
When's the actual final?
The final is this Saturday at 9 p.m. Central European time, 8 o'clock Plague Island time. I'm having a little gathering, which will be the first like.
I'm excited for you.
I'm going to have like 6 people in my house. It's going to be crazy.
Do you remember how to behave in public?
No, I never did.
Don't forget yourself.
Well, I just piss on the floor or something.
Yeah.
So no, I'm very, very excited for that. I want Malta or Iceland to win, but apparently the bookie's favorite is France, which I just don't understand.
Is it not good?
It's very French. It's called Voila, and she's wearing a beret.
Voila, la vie en rose.
No, it's just called Voila. And it's all in black and white. I mean, the only way it could be more French is if she had a baguette up her ass and she was.
She needs a mime.
Yeah, and a Breton top, right? Breton stripes.
No, I love a Breton.
Me too. I ain't mad at it. No, so I'm very, very excited, and that's going to be the highlight of my weekend. Other than being able to go, and I'm going to be able to go to Tucker, my lovely friend Simone's cafe,
and some of their sexy what was that croissant thing? That looked amazing.
Oh God, it's so good. It's the eggs Benedict croissant with bacon and holly. Oh, yeah,
it looked beautiful.
Really good.
I was literally just shaking.
You'd really like as well. They also do a really good leek and cheese croissant. You'd love that. Yeah, that's good. With loads of like bechamel, sexy bechamel. Yeah, all about it. And the lemon cakes. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're such an old lady.
Do you know what? I used to be like, because I remember Tom always used to make lemon cakes. Our friend Tom from Madrid, Tom Burgess.
He's
we
a
love you. Hi, Tom.
fantastic
He's an
baker.
amazing baker. But I never was into lemon cake. Not saying that your lemon cakes were shit, Tom, but basically Simone's are better.
Decent.
His was good, but the lemon cakes from Tucker will blow your mind and have you in citrus heaven. So if you're ever in Berlin, you must visit Tucker Wühlestraße 1 in Friedrichshain. The food is great, the service is great. It's a sunny corner of Australia in grey Berlin.
Yeah, it's still great because it is scorchio here.
What temperature are we talking? Give me digits.
I think it's like 25 or 23 right now.
God, I'm so jealous.
So
and nice. Here, so everything is just about to open up here.
All day.
I'm so gel. I've had cold sweats for that. But obviously, everything is opening up here. Well, the rest your external eating is opening up, and it's going to rain all weekend. Yay!
No one cares. Take an umbrella.
I don't want to sit in the rain and get pissed. Like,
call yourself British.
No, I call myself from London. I don't claim the Britishness anymore.
No.
So we've got an announcement to make, an exciting announcement about a new what are we calling this? Like a side hustle, like a side hustle. So basically, tomorrow or on Friday will be the inaugural episode of the Feral Friends recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Trash TV is we love it.
You know what? It's good stuff.
It's great.
Good stuff. It's there for a reason.
I'm not calling it a guilty pleasure anymore because I refuse to be shamed. I don't feel bad. It's just a pleasure. Seriously, I'm coming out of my walk-in closet on Rodeo Drive and saying that I love the Real Housewives franchise because
I have to say Beverly Hills is one of the best.
Definitely.
Some of the other ones are pure.
Yeah, no, like Orange County. I can't.
Do you know what? I did start on that,
but that was because that was the first one. So you didn't have a choice.
It did have moments. It did have some great moments.
What was her name with the drop dead Fred face? Vicky Gunderson.
Oh my God, the one that looks like a linebacker with
like Simon Cowell's sister. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, her.
But she had a lot of work done that's still terrifying.
Yeah, I know. It's it's too much. God, but Beverly Hills and Potomac is really good too.
And Salt Lake City.
Oh,
those faces though.
We're gonna have to do a recap of season 2 of Salt Lake City because you do not know the tea about Salt Lake City.
I know it sounds awful, but it really is worth the watch because those tombstone faces, the tombstone masks, like massive big faces, like frozen in time, and just like pulled into weird caricatures. It's terrifying but fascinating.
I am very much here for rich women being petty and arguing about stupid things, like stupidness.
It's therapeutic. It makes you switch off.
Yeah, and it's
It's
just
like, okay, forget about everything.
yeah, and I mean, look, this is going to be season 11 of Beverly Hills, right?
We're not the
God.
only ones watching it.
No, I remember when when in Madrid, we used to download. This is how long this been. And then my computer had every virus under the sun. We used to download it when it first came out, and like, yeah. So
Yeah,
you have
that's
to. So
true.
yeah. So Friday, tune in, be there, or
It'll be
be
only a
poor.
short segment,
Yeah, I mean, it'll be
but
probably like
go for
20
the
minutes, half an hour.
inspiration.
Yeah,
The rich,
yeah.
rich inspiration.
Yes, indeed.
That would be good.
So that is that's going to be Friday. So
Okay.
we'll see you then.
Nice.
Shall we move on?
Yeah. So today we
Well-
are talking about.
Well, hold on. We've got to
prior to
do.
that,
You got to do. Have you got the
Getting ahead
notes
of
open in
myself.
front of you?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I do.
Can you read?
I got a little excited.
Yeah, calm down. We're going to do teach the children. So today we're going to be talking about a lady named Stormé Delaverie, who I feel like a lot of people, because today our main topic today is we're talking about pride, and so I wanted to talk about something, you know, pride related,
Yeah.
an LGBTQ figure, and I feel like a lot of people know who Marsha P. Johnson was. Your face is looking blank. Do you know who she was?
No.
Shame.
Yes, I do actually.
Marsha
I do.
B-
She was from Stonewall.
Which wasn't from Stonewall, but she
No, but
was.
she was part of.
She
yeah,
was part of the
movement.
Stonewall uprising. But what
She was from Stonewall.
was that? Me? Oh, that's me. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Sing him a
Someone
song,
professional.
Della, while I answer the door. I'll be back in a sec.
Wow. So I've just got to like scat for a few minutes. Okay, I'm not going to sing for you because that would be weird. I can tell you a bit more about the flat earther, but yeah, I pretty much told you the prime bits. But yeah, so today we're covering Pride, which we will go into later. But I don't know if you're aware of what happened at Stonewall. It was a monumental movement for. Okay, you're back. That was rather fast.
He was really hot. I don't know who it was. It was like basically everybody in my build.
Did you see? Your
Did
towel
No, I did actually answer the door in a towel earlier because someone else. I basically have four packages in my corridor, which I have to give to the neighbors because they just always ring one bell. Right? They just always ring one bell and leave every package for the rest of the house with whoever answers the bell first. So I've got 3 packages in my hallway.
I can't believe you answered the door.
Well, now I've taken them in. I can't just hide. My instinct is to hide and close the curtains and turn off all the lights. But obviously, I am the postman. It's my job. But he was really cute. Oh, his name is. Well, it's like never seen him. Verla, that was the surname.
Verla.
I've never seen. Maybe he's just moved in. Maybe I'll take him a cup of sugar.
Lovely.
Sorry about that distraction, ladies and gents, and everyone in between. I know. I apologize. So Stormé Delaverie.
Okay, go.
Stormé Delaverie is sometimes called like the Rosa Parks of gay liberation. She was born in New Orleans in 1920 to a Black mother and a white father. So that obviously led to a lot of difficulties growing up. And her mum was actually employed as a servant by her father. So that adds another level of like, she didn't even know when her birthday was, basically, because she didn't have a birth certificate, right? Can you imagine not knowing when your birthday is? Crazy. A lot of people didn't know, like back in the day. But she celebrated her birthday on Christmas Eve. So I guess she's had a massive party. I hope she had a massive party every year. She was like a singer and a performer in her early life. And initially she would perform dressed as a woman, but then as she kind of came into her sexuality and her gender identity, she started cross-dressing and dressed like a man. And she would basically do that for the rest of her like career in entertainment. In the 1950s and 1960s, she was part of, and she was the only drag king in this show. She was part of a revue troupe called the Jewel Box Revue, which was
Sorry, I was just going to say it's nice to hear this because you don't really hear about famous drag I can't even speak, drag king.
Drag queens.
Yeah, drag queens. Usually it's the drag queens.
Yeah.
All the fame. So it's really nice to hear this.
Right. Well, I mean, like, I feel like anything in life, men always hog the limelight,
So loud.
basically.
So loud.
I know. So yeah, she was the only drag king in this Jewel Box Review, which was America's first racially integrated drag show. I had never even thought that. I assumed that drag, because it was always so on the fringes, that there wouldn't have been a thing about integration, but even fucking drag shows were segregated. Like
nuts.
These white folks just cannot deal with how amazing we are.
Sounds about
so eventually, like in the 60s, she moved to New York, and she's living in New York, and she would go to the Stonewall Inn often. And on the night of the 27th of June 1969, when the uprising began, I'm not going to call it a riot because it wasn't a riot, it was a rebellion and an uprising. There is some confusion over who threw the first punch, who kind of kicked off the whole thing. But basically, most people agree, and she always said that it was her who threw the first punch, that she was being hauled away by a police officer, chucked into the back of a meat wagon. And then she was screaming at the crowd, like, "What are you doing? How can you let them do this to us?" And she just lamped the police officer. And then everyone went for it.
Good.
Good for her, man.
Yeah.
So she was in whatever happened, whether it was she threw the first punch or not, she was instrumental in starting the fight for gay liberation. After Stonewall, she worked as a bouncer at a lot of the different lesbian bars downtown in Manhattan, and she spent the rest of her life, well into her 80s, patrolling downtown Manhattan with a gun, because she was a licensed gun carrier. Yeah, and she would basically be like a gay superhero, checking in on all the bars, checking that all the girls were okay, walking around, helping anyone out that got into trouble, like Batman, but without being a billionaire with, And she also, which I find this amazing, she lived for decades at the Chelsea Hotel. And isn't that, I mean, it's legendary, right? The Chelsea Hotel.
I don't know what happened there, but
I think the Chelsea Hotel is where Sid and Nancy, like where they commit. So there's a lot of really famous musicians and artists and like creatives who have spent time in the Chelsea Hotel. A lot of drugs, but she loved the atmosphere. A lot of drugs.
For the atmosphere.
Yeah, but she said she loved the atmosphere there, and it helped her, be creative and stay in touch, keep her finger on the pulse and stuff. So she spent many decades living there. She kept on being a bouncer well into her 80s, but then unfortunately, that's so cool, right? But then she began to suffer from dementia.
So sad.
I know. And she died in her sleep of a heart attack in 2014. She'd been living in like a care home. But she's commemorated, basically, Obama inaugurated this national LGBTQ wall of honor outside the Stonewall Inn. And they put the first 50 people to be commemorated on it. And she's one of the first 50 people. So if you're in New York and you are on Christopher Street and you want to go and pay your respects to Stormy, put some respect on her goddamn name. Because amazing woman. I just think of her like bowling around with her gun, like fucking, don't Stormy.
I don't know if she was doing it like that.
Well, no, but in my head, my head she was. But yeah, Stormé Delaverie, look her up. She
I like the name too.
Stormé Delaverie, right?
With the Kardashian.
No, I mean, she had it first, fucking like, rise and shine. Let's not even. I feel like we should do an episode on the Kardashians, just because, or like reality things in general. That would be good.
Do it on reality shows.
Oh wait, what did we say? We wanted next week's show. Go on.
We want input. We want actually input from you guys. We want to hear back from you. So we want you to put forward questions that you would like answered, whether it's about us or about anything in general.
Yeah.
Just either
if it's advice, like, relationship advice, work advice.
I'm amazing at advice, I have to say.
Yeah. If only I could take my own advice. We want next week's show to be all about you. So
no one writes though.
Well, I feel like we could say, because as we're heading now into Pride Month, June, right? You remember that the video of when we were at Pride in Madrid, and the dancing, and we were doing the drag. Are you going to do a
snapshot of that?
Well, no, I feel like if we, hello, my arse cheeks are hanging out, which no one thought to tell me at the time. I've got a massive wedgie, and I'm wearing the heels with socks. And I got that
We were not
awful.
prepared for that.
I know,
Like
it was
impromptu
spontaneous.
fashion show
I
at
yeah.
the party, and they put us in these things, and yeah, there was.
You look good. You had a fan. I just look like Butch Queen up and drag for the first time. But listen,
right.
if we get, let's say, if we get 50 likes of this week's video,
Okay.
and if on
That video is coming out.
then we'll give you like what? We'll give them like a 10. We don't have to play the whole thing. I don't want to, because at one point I saw that you sent this to me the other day,
Yeah,
and
I had a
hadn't.
bit of boob spillage.
No,
like,
well,
whilst
I
I was
turn-
crawling on all fours.
I
and then
turn
sort of
around.
rolled around.
No, I turn around and I'm like hunched over, and then you just see my blue pants one side up my cheek, and the dress has
You
ridden
had
up.
pants.
Like I always used to be like, has any woman ever really left the house and hit with her thing hitched up in the back in a skirt? Well, I have. So yeah. So that's so 50 likes, and we want 15 questions from you
Yeah.
as well. And
That would
then
be
and
nice.
then we'll unveil the hideous.
Yeah, and it
the
can be
hideous
about
truth.
anything. You decide.
Whatever you want. Go nuts.
decide.
You decide. The power's in your hands.
All right.
Okay, so we're talking about pride, gay power.
I'm just curious to know what they're going to do for Pride here, because here in Madrid,
It's a huge thing.
massive thing.
All the
It's like,
gays.
Madrid is one of the gayest cities. I've said this multiple times, but their Pride party, like when they had World Pride, that was a joke. It's like a week of ridiculousness. And so it's just every kind of gay you can imagine is here.
But it's very,
from
again,
all over the world.
it's very man-centric.
Yes, it is very man-centric.
I
but
mean,
that's
and
also
it's-
because we weren't going to female-centric, gay-centric parties or things like that, because most of the gay friends were male.
Yeah, but I mean, even just walking around, and you know, and it's like it's a huge, like, I mean, it's like a million people.
100%.
The whole city center is filled with people. Everything's shut down, massive parade. It's
women
still
aren't such big attention seekers.
That's true. It's a sausage fest. I'm not complaining.
It was a wild. I saw people crossing swords the first time.
Really?
Like, literally play fighting with their penises.
That's like a normal Tuesday night here in Berlin.
And then there was the other time when was it the front of a fire truck or something? There was pictures of us, like, because when they had the parade.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
all in the street on the main parade, just near Sabelles. But there's been so many good parties, so many fun things, a lot of entertainment, a lot of beautiful.
The thing is, I
men.
really like Madrid Pride, but it is very one note. Anyway, look, we need to get.
Shut up.
No, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We need to talk about the origins of Pride. Obviously, everybody knows about Stonewall, right? That's kind of, I guess, what most people would consider to be the beginning of like the global gay rights liberation movement. But there were actually, like, I've been watching a lot of. There's a really good documentary at the moment called, surprisingly, Pride on Hulu, which is talking about like the history of gay liberation from the 50s and 40s and 50s up till now.
Hulu.
Hey, Hulu. And there was actually a lot of kind of like organization, be it underground, obviously, because they couldn't be open about it before then. Because, you know, in the 50s and stuff, there was so much homophobia, like state-sanctioned homophobia, like you could lose your job, you would be shamed, you would lose your kid, like, you know, and that go on.
No, I was just going to say, Halston, we need to talk. Anyway, Halston, sorry.
Have you watched it?
Yes, I have watched it.
Okay.
Anyways,
jot it down, make a note. You know, because a lot of people don't, you know, in the 50s, when there was this whole, the Red Scare, the Red Menace, the communist, you know, threat in America, that went hand in hand with what they call the Lavender Menace, which is
so ridiculous.
Supposedly like gays and
lavender.
Basically, no lavender, because that was the color ascribed to, you know, weak, Jesse, sissy homosexuals, who were, you know, a danger to society, recruiting children, perverts, blah blah blah.
No one wants your kids.
No, like
no one wants your
no
kids.
one wants your fucking kids.
You don't even want your kids.
Yeah. And actually, before that, in the kind of 40s, although it was still socially unacceptable, there was legislation wasn't enforced, basically. But then with this whole communist scare, they clamped down on the gays and the lesbians and everybody else, and trans people as well, hugely. So that kind of then leads to the, you know, everybody has to go underground, but it's still bubbling along. And then it all erupted with Stonewall. But there was There was also a few years before Stonewall in 1966 at this place called Compton's Cafeteria in LA. There was another like uprising, but this time it was mostly trans women.
Yeah. When they went in.
Right. And they said the same thing, like, not today, Satan. And they kicked off and they
Not
fought their
today,
rights. Not
Satan.
today.
No, not
there was
you.
also, I can't remember, it's something to do with donuts, a donut place. That was in the 50s where another kind of fight back happened. So Stonewall was the biggest, but there were other, because, you know, everyone says Stonewall was the first Pride, and the first Pride was not let's get our pecs out and dance around in speedos. It was a fight for survival, right? I think that gets forgotten sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. And there is definitely, from what you were saying with Pride, in certain places you can see how there can be an ostracization of certain people from certain backgrounds. It's not necessarily totally inclusive. When you look at the floats with the major companies, and it's all like big burly guys or bears or like muscle Marys, like, excuse me for using the term, or it's like
it's true.
Usually you see there's certain categories that are accepted, so super femme, super muscly.
No, I don't think super femme is not accepted at all
with the guys. I
think that there's a lot of femme phobia in the gay community. It's a huge,
I'm sure there is.
Gay men, want, a lot of gay men are like musk for it's not
but I've seen in the last couple of years here more so, especially amongst the younger.
I think definitely the next to the Gen Zers.
It's so nice when you go out Pride here and you see all these young teenagers with their friends, and it's like,
no, they're being converted. They need Jesus. Save them from the hellfires.
But yeah, you see them all, and everyone's just having a wonderful time. And what I love about this city is that everyone gets involved and
rocking out with their cocks
accepted, and it's just wonderful. And
I love that.
Embraces it, and it's nice that whether you're old, young, straight, gay, whatever, it's all about just having a ridiculous week. Although the gay community and myself join in and really take full advantage of the stupidness that happens for that whole week, because it is crazy. But I'm just sort of curious to know what's going to happen this year, because obviously we've got our curfew lifted, but we don't.
But is it on? What are they saying about it?
Honestly, I don't know. There hasn't really been much said about it yet. So I assume they're going to do it because they're really making a push with the vaccines now here. They need it because it's
I just don't see how they can have. They can't have a regular Pride in what 2 months, in a month and a half. There's no way it'll have to be pared back. It won't be.
It will be
as
pared
normal,
back, but it's like,
if
for
at all.
example, with clubs, there are no clubs open right now. Although secret clubs or members clubs.
I wouldn't get my hopes up if I were you, because I would be very.
I'm not really fussed about that. It would be nice if there's something done. You can't just completely dismiss it, because at the end of the day, we've got people in bars and restaurants out on terraces. So it's possible to do something.
Yeah, but then they just, that's fine. But then all events and stuff like that, they're all being cancelled. I don't know, whatever, you'll see. I would like to have gone to Pride in the 70s. I feel like this all over. It's not just like, I feel, well, obviously most of the images that I've seen are from New York Pride. And I feel like the 70s was a kind of really amazing
New York
time.
In the 70s was the place to be,
because it was the gay liberation movement had just been born, so everyone was like kind of newly out, and there's this whole exciting thing. It's before AIDS, so there's like free love, bathhouses, and I just, from the pictures and the footage I've seen of Pride from New York in the 70s, it just looks like everyone's having so much fun,
such a good time,
so much fun, and like they're really enjoying being able to just be themselves, right, and not have to like pretend and just be out and proud, and it seems really cool. But then the flip side of that then is like Pride in the 80s was kind of much more going back to, I guess, the original roots of Pride, because it was like a protest, because obviously you have AIDS, you have the gay community all around the world being like vilified, and everyone's saying that they're perverts and this disease is God's judgment and blah blah blah. Like I'm old enough to remember like hearing like snippets of stuff on. I can remember being like 9, 10 maybe, and like hearing about gay pride, but it was always very like, it was always talked about very negatively and disparagingly. And but it was always much more of a protest in the 80s. It wasn't a party, you know, people weren't, no one was in the mood to party, like everyone was dropping dead like flies. So so it's just, yeah, it's interesting to see how it's kind of flipped around. And then I guess from the 90s onwards, like, can you do you remember what was the first Pride you went to?
It was in London, and I think it was probably not in the 90s, it was in the noughties in the beginning.
Well, I went to my first Pride, I think it was either 95 or 96, I can't remember. I was either whatever, it was one of those years.
Where was it?
It was in Mile End in East London, in a park, and basically I was kind of like newish out, and I was like, I must find other gays like me. And I found this youth group in Hackney, basically. Amazing. And they had a stall, and it's so weird, I always think, how did they get the money to do this? Because this was at the time of Section 28, which basically forbade any kind of promotion, they called it, of homosexuality. So that meant there was no funding, you weren't allowed to talk about it in schools. So I don't know, Hackney must have just been a very progressive borough and given them the money. Thank you, Hackney. Thank you, Diane Abbott. She's been the MP of and anyway, they had this stall there, and I was like, so I went along, I got on the tube, and I was dressed normally, and then I got there, and I put on my like little like white denim boom shorts.
Oh my god!
And it was really cold. It was a really cold day, but I was like, I was like,
paid money to see that,
and it was like
amazing.
It was the best day ever. It was like I saw like my first drag queens. I saw like guys holding hands, kissing. Like I was like, my eyes like popping up my head. It was like that was the first time I felt like, you know, I'm not, there are lots of other people like me, and I'm not, you know, the only gay in the village, basically. And then going home at the end of the day, then I had to change back into my civvies and like sit on the train. And I remember feeling really like, I still wanted to be dressed as, you know, and that's why we need Pride still.
Yeah, and that's why when you hear people saying, well, we don't have straight Pride, and you're just like, just
don't. Every fucking day is straight Pride. Every time you turn on the TV, it's straight Pride.
That feeling.
Every time you open a magazine, it's straight Pride. Every time you hold your partner's hand in the street without feeling fear, it's straight Pride. Every time you kiss your partner openly in public, it's straight Pride. Don't fucking talk to me about we need a straight Pride, because otherwise you're gonna get a straight fist to the or a straight chop to the just move. Just shut up.
A fly kick to the throat.
Shut up. And yeah, so that's kind of my
well, what's been your most that was obviously one of your most memorable prides.
Yeah.
But, other prides that have really stood out for you,
Mardi Gras,
been good or bad.
Mardi Gras in Sydney was amazing. It was slightly different because normally the prides that I've been to in Madrid, and you know, it's very much like crowd participation, like there's floats or there's like sound systems and you're in the street dancing, whereas in Sydney it's like very much there's a parade and you watch the parade from behind barriers, but the parade is incredible. And you have to get there.
Wouldn't you just feel like, I want to take part?
No, because everyone is like, because you'd be like, you wouldn't know, everyone's doing routines, they're dressed up in costumes. It's like, they have like
I said, wouldn't you want to be, I want to take part.
No, because I would jump over the barrier and then look like a twat because you don't know the routine and you're not wearing the right clothes.
When you see the costumes and you see all the routines, you're like,
no, because you're so like the energy is basically you have to get there really early, and everyone has these little stools and you have to stand up on the stool because otherwise you can't. Well, when you're short ass like me, you won't see anything. But we were right in the bit where it comes all the way through the city centre and then it turns down Oxford Road, and so we stood right on the turn, and it's just amazing. The energy is so cool. It's warm. Everyone, you know, like it's summer there, and we saw Kylie. She was like this far away, and it was great. And the music's playing, and I was actually very like, because I thought like you, I was like, this isn't going to be very good. Like, why do we just have to stand there? But I was like, levitating by the
Screaming.
end. It was so good. It was.
And was it a sort of all day, all night thing, or afterwards people would go and do stuff or everything shuts down? How did it work?
Basically the parade doesn't start until the evening, but I mean there's like obviously like Madrid, there's like a whole 2 weeks of events and parties leading up to this.
So it's 2 weeks.
I know, maybe it's not 2 weeks, maybe it's like a week. But there's a huge, it's the biggest in the world, I think. Maybe Sao Paulo is, I'm not sure, but it's one of the biggest.
Madrid.
No, it's not. Sydney is, yeah. And the parade doesn't start until the evening, and it's televised as well through the whole country. Like everyone watches it.
Oh, that's cool.
And then afterwards, there's after parties. I mean, there's like an official after party, but everyone, it's like carnival. Everyone's like milling around, like drinking. It's like it's a whole thing.
That was fun.
That was really, really. That was really fun. I have to say, London Pride is never really.
It's a bit. I remember the one in Soho. And that was sort of like,
it's okay, right?
It wasn't in comparison to all the others.
It always seems a bit like thrown together. Like they didn't really.
There's not much effort that's gone into there. There wasn't any sort of proper structure to it.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of like, well, okay.
I don't know. And like
I feel like it could have been done better. It's London.
Right?
It could have been done.
They have this, they always have the stage in Trafalgar Square where they give speeches and stuff. And then like all the bars are open in Soho, but it's never like, I want stages, I want like sound systems, because every bar is just playing their own music, and people, I don't know, it's never, I've never had an amazing time at London Pride. No. I have to say.
Although there was, what was the event that we went to, and it was in a park? That was for Pride.
What, in London?
Which, but yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what I do want to do is go to UK Black Pride, because that looks really fun.
Well, I didn't. Hold on, I didn't know.
Yeah, well, it's basically it was set up. I'm not sure how many years ago, but basically because we know the gays can be very white sometimes. So as a kind of counter to that, UK Black Pride was set up by a woman called Lady Phil. She's called. And it's like, and it's a celebration of Black queerness. Like they're playing like bashment, like everyone's dancing, everyone like looks amazing. It
does sound fun.
It's Black perfection. And so I want to do that. It's normally, I don't think it's on this year. I think they've cancelled it. It's going to be like a virtual one. I think and it's normally somewhere in South London, in like, maybe it's like Brockwell Park or somewhere like that. Okay. But that looks really fun. That's the one to go to, because Berlin Pride is. Yeah,
I was going to say, what about Berlin Pride?
Well, you would think Berlin being like the queerest place on earth. And first of all, in Berlin, it's not called Pride; it's called CSD, Christopher Street Day. Berlin always has to be different. Most Pride Month all around the world is June. Berlin celebrates its Pride or CSD in July. At the end of July, because they're difficult. I don't actually know why. Extra. I really don't know why, actually.
Just to extend the party. It's like, don't worry, guys.
We've got probably actually, because I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of guys.
And if everyone wants to go to lots of different ones, and you're just
there's a lot
stuck in one.
There's a lot of guys. Well, no, there's a lot of guys who do like the circuit from all around the world, right? And they go to like, and do you know what I really want to go to is Amsterdam Pride, because that's on boats. As well,
that could be fun.
And you're like, and there's the parade is on the canals, and it looks really cool. But Berlin, I mean, I could have falling in incident, right? Number 2. Berlin, it's just, I don't know. It's lackluster to me. There's a parade and there's floats. Every time I've been, it's like, they have a stage at the Brandenburg Gate. But to me, like everything in Berlin, it just always comes down to like people fucking in bushes.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Right? They're just. There aren't
that many bushes around, so.
The side of the road where the parade is like it goes through the middle of the big Tiergarten, the big park. Okay. And the last time I went, we were like, okay, this is dead, let's go. And we went to walk through the park to get to wherever we were going, and it was just like people G'd out on the floor, just rolling around, just touch it. It just looked gross, and I was like, we can do better in Berlin, please. Like, there's gotta be
must try harder.
So it's
are they doing anything this year?
It's all online, it's all virtual.
Okay.
There's not going to. I guess it's not going to be until next year that things really kind of start to
Fair enough.
get back to normal. So that's
Fair enough.
I probably wouldn't. I'm more interested in the parties, the other parties. It's not about the main thing, the main event.
No.
It's like the special like nights and parties that they put on here. That's what's really good.
That's what's
about
been
Berlin
it for
Pride.
me, because it's lovely. Like, I do love the fact when you're out and about on the street, meeting people, hanging around. It's very funny, but then it's also the after parties, and
that's the main thing. The gays just want to dance all night. Like,
yeah, they really have.
But I do. We're so very privileged to be able to even celebrate Pride, like where we live. There are so many places still around the world where, you know, being gay will get you hanged, beheaded, killed. You know, I saw something, I think it was
The young influencer who was killed.
yeah, no,
recently.
not that, but that in Iran, he was 20 and he was beheaded by his own family.
Oh my
And
god.
people want to ask why we still need Pride. But I saw not long ago, I think it was in Uganda or Kenya, and it was like the first, and obviously Uganda and Kenya are two of the most homophobic. Again,
Are you serious?
I told you, I'm not supposed to
This is
compare.
terribly
Sing him a song, Della.
unprofessional. I literally gobsmacked. I can't believe that you've done this. I'm getting it together. Wish you could. Well, yes. Anyways, so despite what he says, Pride in Madrid is actually pretty damn good. It's kind of amazing. A lot of fun people are out, and they do usually have some very good parties. Although I am not sure what's going to happen this year, but here's
He
hoping
wasn't
it's going to
hot.
be good.
He wasn't hot this time, so I resent that.
Did you throw the package at him and stuff?
No, I think it had liquid in it. Hopefully I broke it.
So
it
you were
was in-
saying about Pride, why we still need Pride because
Yeah.
in certain countries.
So it was in either Kenya or Uganda, and it was like I saw they had organized the first ever Pride in that country, and it was so I was just like the bravery, man. Like it was like 50 people or something, but they still did
They were
it.
literally like,
Fuck you, basically. We're here. We're get used to it.
so sad that that's like the first.
I know.
We're in 2021. That's the first.
Like
one.
just get
Poor
over it.
fuckers.
Get over it. So of course we still need Pride, and any bloody straight person that says we don't will have a meeting with us. I love how you're drinking wine followed by a sip of water.
The classics. Mix it up.
Mixing it. So mix a lot. I'm trying to do. I can't do it.
What, like a body roll? Or
No, like a.
like Beyonce with the feathers, with the shoulders. You're gonna do yourself a mischief. Right
I know.
there.
Well, no, I've got a
Literally,
granddad
you'll be like,
neck. Like
you're just gonna be like, I'm sorry, I can't do. Wheels out. It's like you're not doing anywhere.
I know. Don't tempt fate. I feel proud enough now.
Yeah, you're full of pride.
I'm always full of pride. But I'm looking forward to hopefully having some small celebration of Pride this year. We'll see.
That will be nice.
So I think it is time for.
Are you ready?
Feral Facts.
Feral Facts. Okay, so with I'm doing Feral Facts today.
Yeah.
So with the Feral Fact today, I decided to give it a little gay tinge.
Oh.
So yeah.
What colour? Pink.
That's just a stereotype. Okay, so did you know that the world's oldest porn, which dates back over 3,000 years, features both male-male, female-female, and male-female couples?
Well, no, I didn't, but good.
Now you did.
Good.
See, everyone was doing it, and do you know this?
Where do you know where they found this porn?
Philippines. No, I don't know. Probably in Greece. Probably.
Yeah. That figures.
But okay, so the oldest ever known chat up line was apparently said between two men. Okay, so it's a mythological story.
Show me your dick.
Yeah, you haven't got the chat. Okay.
I know.
And so it's from the 20th dynasty of ancient Egypt between Horus and Seth.
Horus and Seth. Horus, clues in the name.
And Seth. So they were quarreling for 80 years on who should rule. And then Seth attempted to persuade Horus to sleep with him, saying, "How lovely are your buttocks and how muscular your thighs are." And then they had
Horus.
sex.
He
It
sounds
worked.
delightful. Muscular buttocks and big thighs. I'd like to meet Horus.
It worked, and they had sex.
Oh, I didn't know that. I feel like I'm sure I knew something about the ancient Egyptians being very like pro P
Yeah,
and the
they're all
B.
at it. And then there was this other one that I found, which I thought was quite interesting. So the church sanctified gay marriages in the so-called Dark Ages.
Yeah, I think I knew
With
this.
one of them being the Byzantine Emperor Basil I
Basil.
and his partner John, Basil and John.
It was me. Oh my god, do you think that's like a
In your
reincarnation?
past life, you and Basil.
Well, those Byzantines.
Byzantine.
We've had this argument before,
Byzantine.
and it
goddammit.
was proven that it's
Yeah.
Byzantine. I think both are okay. I say Byzantine. Anyway,
Peasant.
they were randy buggers. They didn't care whether it was man, woman, donkey, goat.
But I
like,
just can't believe the church. Well, see, this is why we know it's all a crock of shit.
Of course.
It was just sort of like well,
everybody
like,
was fucking doing
they were
great
literally
until the
it's
church came
Basil
along.
and John, of course.
Can you,
Like,
I'm sorry,
Friday.
Basil and John, like Basil and John are coming for dinner. I must make a lovely bisque.
I love it.
Basil and John is like the gayest name ever for a couple. Basil. Oh,
Basil.
Basil, behave.
I love it. So those are my three fun.
They're all
gay
fans. I
facts.
like that. Do we think
Yeah.
that Basil has red hair?
Oh, you do love a redhead, don't you?
I'm picturing Basil in my head.
No, Basil had dark hair and green eyes.
Fine. Be like that. Well, on that note, I'm going to go and think about Basil.
Oh, Basil.
Ooh, Basil.
Oh, you are terrible.
Can you imagine if I now meet someone called Basil?
Oh my God, I'd be so happy. You're welcome.
I don't feel it's a very common name here. Have you ever met anyone called Basil?
I've never met a Basil.
Apart from Basil Brush.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh my God, but before we forget, Halston.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, have you watched it?
Yeah, I did watch it the other day.
What did you think?
I was a bit I found Ewan McGregor's performance annoying.
He's so annoying.
Because the thing is, and I
Also,
don't
why didn't they get a gay man?
well, this is the thing, and there was this big hoo-ha about should the part have gone to a gay person, and I'm kind of, it depends on the actor, but in general, I think that they shouldn't give gay parts to straight men. And then the argument is, but then if they're a good actor, they can inhabit any role. But the thing is that as gay men, we grow up a lot of us having to pretend to be straight.
Because
So
they
for
can
a-
also argue that you can't take on straight roles.
No, but for a gay man to play straight is not even really acting a lot of the time, because that has been their truth for so long. But a straight man has never had that feeling of what it feels like to be gay. Or no straight man's ever pretended to be gay unless they're trying to look at some girl's tits in the changing room, right? Go on.
Sorry.
So I just think, and I think while it's still, and I hate the, it's so cool because he's playing gay. Like, it's not, my life is not some kind of a weird toy and game. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, but then gay men don't get the same cachet for coming out and being honest about who they are. It's not.
Yeah,
it
no, I
annoys me.
totally agree with that one. Also, I could not stand his boyfriend, Watercut. Sorry, excuse my language.
Yeah. No, it's
Can't
fine.
use
No,
that one.
Can't. It's fine. We can say that, but we just can't. We just can't put it in the snippet that we're trying to do.
It was just
he was an asshole.
Awful piece of shit.
He was an
I
asshole.
was just like, you're horrible.
I thought
But he was also an asshole.
I mean,
terrible.
But this is the thing. Apparently, a lot of the criticism of it has been that they've ended up making Halston completely unsympathetic, and apparently he wasn't. He had his insecurities and that, blah blah blah. But he does come across as just being like a prissy monster smoking his like fag up with fag holder.
The thing is, the character itself, it was very interesting. It wasn't like I
didn't really know anything. I loved the Studio 54 bits.
I admired. Oh my God, that looked incredible.
Oh God, it looks so fun.
Take
me, Liza, pick me.
And that woman who got caught in there.
I know. Is that true? It must be true.
So I think it is.
With no spoilers, but yeah, it is worth a watch. I would recommend it.
Really good watch. Really good watch.
It's very Ryan Murphy. So if you like kind of Pose and that, it's very like, you can tell it's him.
Okay.
I like the fact that it was graphic with the sex scenes. They weren't holding anything back, which I think is
Yeah.
good. We need to see
No,
more.
it was very interesting. I loved it, and I think it was done really
I didn't
well.
love it. I didn't love
I
it.
did.
I enjoyed it. I didn't
literally
love it.
burned through it, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I was just the characters, and I liked the fact that the characters weren't all sort of like, and then he's a wonderful man. It's like,
No, I mean they're real
all
people, like
yeah,
with all their
but I
flaws.
just
And
couldn't believe that boyfriend.
he
that
was
thing.
he was an asshole. But Oprah says you teach people how to treat you. So Halston needed to have a word with
He
him.
projected.
And
himself.
and he hated himself, so that's why he allowed himself to be treated like that. But I'm just because I'd never really knew anything about him, and it was nice you seeing the dresses, and
Oh yeah,
just the
Some of them
70s is
were
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
And the Italian designer, because there's been a
Elsa
lot of chat.
Peretti.
Elsa, the actress was brilliant, but there's
Yeah.
been a lot of chat about how they should do a spin-off for her.
Yeah.
female
Apparently that's
designers,
being that's
which would be cool.
under consideration.
Yes,
Under
in consideration.
in or under
It's both. You can use both.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Always, yes.
So we
Quite.
will. So remember, guys, to tell us what you want us to talk about next week. Ask us
Exactly.
questions. Like, comment, subscribe. We need you to
Yes.
start. We're trying to get something going here. You know what I'm saying? And remember,
Stay
feral.
feral. All right,
I'm
bye.
getting really good at it now. I'll
I
see you next
know.
week. Bye bye. Cheers.